Okay, let's try this again. And we're going to talk a little bit about school. You guys all walked to school, is that correct?
No.
Oh, you did not.
We rode in, Dad took us in the car every morning, and then we walked home from school every day.
Always. No exceptions.
Did you guys walk together, or did you
Yes.
break up into little groups? Or
We did it all ways, different ways. I took my own path and went, and everybody.
We didn't walk singly. We did have to walk in pairs or whatever.
Yeah. Except for me.
No.
Yeah.
Or we walked with school friends that my dad picked up in the morning.
Yes. I was known as Boxcar Willie.
Explain.
Yes. I would walk along the railroad tracks on Sanderson Street for 3 blocks, and it was boring walking on the sidewalk. So I would often climb on top of the boxcars at the end, and I would walk 3 blocks, jumping from car to car to car to car, until I got to the end, and then I'd climb down and walk on home.
How old?
I was probably 8.
Wow.
8 or 9.
That's young.
Yes, it is. And that went on for quite a while until I was up there one day and a railroad detective spotted me, and he said, "You get down right now." And he made me get down, and he pulled out a clipboard, and he says, "I want your name, address, and phone number, and your father's name." And I was frightened to death, and I gave it to him. And I was afraid when I got home that night that Dad would be waiting, very angry. And I didn't say a word, and Dad never said a word. Had supper, had a nice evening. Nothing happened. And the next day I thought for sure something was going to happen. Nothing happened. Third day, nothing happened. Finally I figured out that that railroad detective had just scared me
Yeah.
a bit,
Yeah.
and laughed and threw the paper away
Yeah.
once I was gone. And I never got back up in that boxcar.
And you didn't get in trouble with
And
mom
I
and
didn't
dad.
get in trouble with Dad or Mom.
Now, Dad, my dad, Norm over there, he's well known for getting around town in Pontiac and getting into a lot of trouble. Now, did you guys wander around Pontiac much,
No,
or were you at home?
We played with our local neighbors.
Yes.
And once in a while, I think we'd go with him and maybe get in a little trouble, but he didn't mean to get in trouble. It was just one of those things that happened. I mean, he wasn't a bad guy.
There were old houses in the city that had 2-story garages that had like hay barns in the second floor with barn doors or those hay doors that opened up in the peak, and those were used because those houses were so old that those horse garage barns were used for horses and wagons, and they kept the hay up above and fed their horses. So that was very common throughout the city, and there were alleys behind most every street that made all of that accessible. So there was lots of garage barns for us to play in, and we didn't bother asking for permission. But we would play in those, and we never got in trouble. We didn't destroy anything. We just played up there. I can still smell the odor of the old wood and with the summer heat and all of that. And we had a lot of fun.
What did you girls used to do after school? Do you remember?
We would play, usually play outside for a while. We played pom-pom, pull away, get your horse and run away out in the street. We could play in the street real easy because not hardly any traffic. What do you remember, Mary?
Horses stop fast.
Yeah.
Yes.
I remember making hopscotch on the sidewalk,
Mhm.
and we used to jump and play hopscotch, and we'd play in our backyard because there's a hill going down our, beside
Oh,
our
yeah.
house. And we'd play in the backyard, and I can remember getting, I don't remember where we got the wood from. We ruined some of Dad's wood playing with it. We were gonna build a little hut in the backyard and using nails and stuff. And when Dad found out, he was very upset.
Wow.
And it was David, Glenna, and I that was doing that.
The three little
I
kids.
had
Yeah.
nothing to do.
No, you had nothing to do with it, I
You
don't
were too
think.
busy being about town.
Yes.
And he was very angry when he got home from work. And he took a piece of the wood, and David got 3 swats on the rear end because he was older. Glenna got 2 swats, and I only got 1.
You were the baby.
Yeah, because I was the baby.
You were his favorite.
No,
No.
no,
Mom and Dad never had favorites.
No.
Couldn't have.
no.
One day in the summer when we were all playing in the front yard, Dad came home from work and got out of the car, and he always loved to see us kids playing, and he was happy, we were happy. But he said something, and Mary gave him a smart aleck answer, and she was no more than 3, if that. And he laughed, and he says, "I'm gonna get you for that." And he raised his arm back and started to chase her in the yard, and her squealing. And all of a sudden, our dog Skippy grabbed hold of his wrist and spun him around as if to say, "You're not touching my baby." And Dad looked at him and laughed, and he says, "Well, maybe tomorrow."
He said that to Mary.
Yes,
You're gonna get it tomorrow.
yeah, maybe tomorrow.
That's
But-
cute.
Yeah, he loved that dog, and he loved his kids.
Yeah.
And another time in the winter, we have still pictures of this. Lots of snow on the ground, it was very cold, and Mother with her little box camera was standing there trying to take pictures of us, and there the older kids were standing there, and the 3 little kids were on a sled sitting in front of us with David on one side, Glenna on the other, and little Mary in the middle, and she had on her little pink snowsuit, and she was so small that she did not really have good balance. And the next thing we knew, she was lying face forward in the snow, and nobody noticed it except David, and David reached down and picked her up and held her up for the picture, and Mom took her picture.
Aw, that's cute. Nice story.
Now, did you all enjoy school?
I like school. Yep, I love school.
Yep.
What were your favorite subjects?
Boys.
Probably reading. I think I like reading.
How about you, Mary?
Well, it certainly wasn't math. English and classes that had to do with reading. Yeah.
Now, were you mostly taught by one person at school, or how many teachers did you have?
We had a 2-room school with the first 6 grades taught by Miss Lorraine Fankhauser,
We all had her.
and then in the older classroom, the grades were 7 through 10, and different teachers came and went, but Miss Fankhauser was there the longest, and she was wonderful, but she taught all of us kids.
Mm-hmm.
We really respected her. She was a good teacher.
All right, and I hate to say it, but I think we're going to run out of time, and so instead of just cutting you guys off this time again, I'm just going to apologize to the people watching. This is all broken up, but we'll do better with getting storage on the phones next time.
All righty.
But part 1 of learning more about the childhoods of the Wilson family in
All right.
1940s and 50s, Pontiac, Michigan. All right. Good night, guys.
Good
Good
night.
night.